Have you ever been watching an animated movie or playing a video game and just been completely blown away by what you're seeing? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and take a look at the entire process of 3D animation. We're going to see exactly how that digital magic gets made.
I mean, seriously? Ever stop and wonder how those characters feel so alive, or how those game worlds feel so immersive? There's this incredibly complex and honestly fascinating process behind it all. So let's break it down, from the very first spark of an idea to that final polished performance you see on screen.
So what is 3D animation really? Well, at its heart, it's all about creating the illusion of reality inside a computer. Instead of drawing on a flat surface, artists are actually building and moving objects that have depth, height, and width. It's a lot like sculpting, but your clay is entirely digital.
And this is probably the best way to get it. Think about old-school 2D animation. That's like a flipbook, right? Each and every frame is a brand new drawing. But 3D? That's a whole different ball game. You're not redrawing anything. Instead, you build a complete digital puppet, and then you pose and move that one model around inside a virtual world. It's a total shift from drawing to sculpting. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll cover the basics. Then, we're going to walk through the entire creation pipeline, see how characters actually learn to move, watch how their world gets built around them, and finally, we'll talk about why this technology is just so important today. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The best way to think about making a 3D animation isn't as one single action, but as a pipeline, kind of like a digital assembly line, where every single step builds on the one before it to get to that final product. Everything has to start somewhere, right? And in 3D, the starting point is all about creating the object itself. So first up, we have modeling, where we actually sculpt the raw shape. And then we've got texturing, where we give that shape its skin, its color, its personality. Modeling is, well, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's digital sculpting. Artists will use software, you've probably heard of stuff like Blender or Maya, to create a 3D mesh. You can just think of it as a super complex wireframe that defines the basic shape of literally everything, from a little teacup to a giant dragon. Now, a 3D model on its own is kind of boring. It's usually just a plain gray shape, and that's where texturing comes in. This is the part where artists essentially paint that model, and it's way more than just color. It's about making a surface look rough like a rock, or smooth like glass, or have the grain of wood. This step is what makes a model actually believable. Okay, so we've got this awesome-looking model. It's textured, it looks real, but it's basically a digital statue. It can't move. So how do we bring it to life? Well, this next stage is where the magic of animation really happens. To get our character moving, there are two absolutely essential steps: rigging and then the actual animation. These two go hand in hand to turn that static model into something that feels like it's living and breathing. You see, before an animator can make a character walk or jump, it needs bones. Rigging is the super technical but crucial process of building a digital skeleton inside the model. This rig gives the animator all the controls they need to pose the arms, legs, face, everything. Without it, the model is just stuck. And this is where the performance begins. Once that rig is in place, the animators can finally step in. They create movement by setting key poses. We call them keyframes. So you'd set the start of a jump, the very top of the jump, and the landing. The computer then does the heavy lifting of figuring out all the frames in between. It's this perfect blend of art and tech. All right, our character is moving, they've got personality, but they're just kind of floating in a digital void right now. So the final stages are all about putting them into a fully fleshed out world and getting the whole thing ready for you to see. And to get that polished, cinematic look we all expect, we need two more steps: lighting and rendering. These are the critical finishing touches that bring the whole scene together. You know how lighting can totally change the feel of a movie scene? It's exactly the same in 3D. Lighting is so important for creating mood. Artists place digital lights in the scene to cast shadows, create reflections, and build atmosphere. A bright scene can feel happy, while a dark, shadowy one creates suspense. It's pure storytelling with light. And last but not least, rendering. Okay, so this is the final super computer-intensive step. It's where the computer takes absolutely everything we've done, the models, the textures, the animation, the lights, and it calculates the final image, pixel by pixel, for every single frame of the video. It's like developing the digital film.
So, we've walked through the whole process, but you know, the impact of 3D animation is so much bigger than just movies and video games. Let's take a look at why this tech is popping up pretty much everywhere. Of course, you've got entertainment. That's the obvious one. But think about advertising, where companies create perfect-looking products that don't even exist yet. Or architecture, where you can do a virtual walkthrough of a building before it's built. And in education, things like medical simulations let doctors practice without any risk. Oh, and of course, it is the absolute backbone of VR and AR.
So what kind of person becomes a 3D animator? It's this really cool mix of skills, right? You need that artistic creativity, for sure. But you also have to be pretty tech-savvy to master the software. You need to understand a bit of physics to make things move realistically, and you absolutely need a ton of patience and an eye for detail. It's a real blend of left brain and right brain thinking.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. 3D animation allows for creative freedom and the ability to simulate impossible scenarios safely. I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it? The only real limit is your imagination. You can build entire worlds that defy physics or visualize things you can never see in real life, all from the safety of a computer.
So there you have it. That's the roadmap for how these incredible digital worlds get made, from a single shape to a fully rendered universe. It really gets you thinking. With tools and technology like this, what kind of story would you bring to life?